Welcome into Walk the Line. I'm your host, OG Chris Murray. We give you my Dynasty Madden League Week 6 golden picks. But before we dive into these picks, man, let's recap some action from Week 5. First up, we had Chef Scooper and the Arizona Cardinals versus Matty Ice and the Philadelphia Eagles. This was definitely an offensive showdown, but Matty Ice came away with a 52-37 victory, giving Mr. Chef Scooper those 50-piece McNuggets, getting a W going into Week 6. Moving on, we had King Flair and those Pittsburgh Steelers versus SJ and the Houston Texans. SJ got the job done at home, securing a 34-12 victory over those Pittsburgh Steelers, causing a lot of turnovers. Next up, we had Tone Dog and those Oakland Raiders versus C-Rob and the Carolina Panthers. C-Rob came out with a solid game plan and executed it thoroughly, securing a 24-17 victory, getting the job done at home over those Oakland Raiders. Next up, we had the Schemer and the Schemer and those New England Patriots versus Skill Trade and those Buffalo Bills. Listen, from the first whistle to the last whistle, this New England Patriots team came out very focused, executed on both sides of the ball, securing them a 28-7 victory over those Buffalo Bills. Next up, we had the Bus and the Chicago Bears versus Nasty Newt and those Atlanta Falcons. This game was a nail-biter all the way down to the very end, but success was in the Chicago Bears' favor, securing them a 17-16 victory over those Atlanta Falcons. Next, we had Hamilton and those Minnesota Vikings versus Taz and the Detroit Lions. This was a game where opportunity was missed, and Taz was able to capitalize over those missed opportunities, securing him a 17-10 victory over those Minnesota Vikings. Next up, we had Sweets 99 and those San Francisco 49ers versus Rich 215 and those New York Jets. Listen, man, the San Francisco 49ers just couldn't seem to figure out how to stop the passing game and could not take care of the ball on the offensive side, causing them to fall a little bit short on the road. Rich secured a 24-13 victory over those San Francisco 49ers heading into Week 6. That's the recap for Week 5. So let's dive into these Week 6 golden picks. First up, we have under 2 rated the Washington Redskins versus T-Pain those Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The L's are starting to pile up for T-Pain and those Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. The team isn't clicking at all on either side of the ball. Ranked at the bottom of the league in all categories on the defense side and the offensive side of the ball. Under 2 rated. This is a must-win matchup. You're going against a struggling Tampa Bay Buccaneers team who average only 9 points per game, but allows 29 points. Get your offense going. I can't see your offense struggling in this matchup because this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is just flat out horrible. Get your offense going early, and I can see you coming away with a W. Vegas has the Washington Redskins favored by 2.5 points. I think Vegas got this one right. I'm taking under 2 rated, getting a W. Next up, we have Sweets 99 and the San Francisco 49ers versus the Schemer and those New England Patriots. The 49ers are coming off a tough loss in their Week 5 matchup against the New York Jets. 3 things the 49ers must do better in this week's matchup. Number 1, take care of the ball. The offense, even though in the first beginning of the game, they was in it, but throughout the game they started making just flat out just making dumb decisions and just turning the ball over on drive after drive after drive. You cannot come out versus anyone and expect to turn the ball over 5 times. Turn the ball over 5 times and expect your team to get the W. You just can't. I don't see, that happening. You have to take care of the ball. Number 2, your secondary, man, they have to play way better than what they played last week. Y'all let a guy with an 85 speed 83 acceleration, get off for 144 receiving yards, and also locked in 3 touchdowns. That cannot happen. That it just can't happen. Y'all secondary has to play as one. And communicate. There should be no reason why this defense, with all the talent that it has, should be allowing one player to get off for that amount of yards and also scoring 3 touchdowns. Number 3, y'all have to protect Jimmy G. He's the oil that keeps that offense going. You have to protect him. If you plan on being there at the end of the season in a race for a banner, the schemer, you have to pump your secondary up in this matchup. You're facing a quarterback who turned the ball over 5 times last week. Get your secondary pumped, feed off that home crowd energy, and come out and tell them guys it's time to eat. Vegas has Sweet 99 favored by 3.5. I think Vegas got this one right. I'm looking for the 49ers to get the bounce back W heading into week 7. Next up, we have King Vitamin and the Los Angeles Rams versus HBO and the Dallas Cowboys. Wow, man. Wow. King Vitamin and LA Rams, man, need to move to the South Pole, because everything about this team is frozen, solid, ice cold. The offense is averaging only 8 points per game due to the fact Mr. Goff can't seem to stop throwing the ball to the other players on the defensive side of the ball, locking in 26 interceptions is only week 6. Todd Gurley can't seem to run the ball well. He's coming, his numbers are lower than somebody that's trying to do the limbo. Then you have a defense who can't seem to stop a lick of anything. Is this the King Vitamin that we're used to seeing? That's the question mark, man. Is this the King Vitamin that we have grown accustomed to seeing? Because I don't know what's going on. But to switch gears, HBO and those Dallas Cowboys are coming off of a pretty much an offensive shootout. Joseph Myers is everything what HBO thought he was. Last week, this guy went off for a total of 272 receiving yards, 4 receiving touchdowns, and that boy is he's a bad man. I'm telling you that right now. This week, he's going up against a secondary who cannot contain elite wide receivers. This game I'm expecting Joseph Myers to basically double what he did last week, because I don't see the way that this LA Rams team is playing right now on both sides of the ball. I cannot see them containing this young man, So HBO, same thing you did last week, coming with the same exact mentality in this game. Feed the beast. Vegas has the Dallas Cowboys favored by 6 points. I think Vegas got this one wrong. Because one thing I know about everybody in the DML, they do not want to get one of those HBO videos. So I'm expecting King Vitamin to put his thinking cap on in this matchup and figure out how to get the W going into week 7. I'm taking the Rams, getting the W. Next up, we have 85 and the defending Super Bowl champs, those New Orleans Saints, versus Taz and the Detroit Lions. This New Orleans Saints team, are pretty much, entering this matchup 4-game winning streak. It's nothing new. This is a spot that we always see the Saints team at. They always start off hot. But, this team, man, is playing like they're still hungry. If you watch these guys play, they're playing like they're still hungry. You got 85 and those New Orleans Saints coming off of an amazing offensive show in their Week 5 matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Marcus Mariota just was hitting every dot, passing for 5 total passing touchdowns. And this team, man, it just looks like it's looking to repeat. Looking to get back-to-back banners in the DML. Taz, you're going up against an offensive juggernaut, but they are without AK-47. So you can take the thinking cap off of how to solve the AK-47 puzzle. You could sleep well, rest well, knowing that you're not facing him in his matchup, but you have to figure out the number one thing. is how to put points up on the number one defense in the DML this week, because these guys are very stingy. Also, you have to figure out how to slow down this offense, but you're home, You're coming off of an impressive win last week versus those Minnesota Vikings, and your guys' energy level was up and feeling confident, and you're getting back star cornerback Darius Slay. So this is a game that you have to play chess, not checkers, because if you don't and you come out playing wildly, the hinges will be blown off the door before halftime even start. Before we even get to halftime. Vegas has the Saints favored by 7.5 points. The way this New Orleans Saints team is playing right now, like I said, they're playing like they didn't even win a banner last season. They're coming out playing very hungry. I think Vegas got this one right, and I'm taking Addy and those Saints getting a W going into Week 7. Next up, we have my Cleveland Browns versus Expert and those blazing hot Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll be coming off of a tough loss last week against Marizi and those Indianapolis Colts. We're sitting at 4-1. My guys are still confident. We just had some things that we have to tweak on the defensive side of the ball and also on the offensive side of the ball too. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the number 2 ranked defense heading into this game in the DML. Defense has always been, the fire out there in Jacksonville, but now the offense is starting to catch up to what the defense is doing, and that's what's making this team very dangerous. This is going to be a tough matchup for my Cleveland Browns. You're going to have to figure out, number 1, how to score on that defense without turning the ball over, and number 2, how to stop Leonard Fournette and Dak Prescott. So this will be a defensive. We entering this game on a defensive mindset. First, we have to stop their offense. Then, 2, we have to pretty much be able to score on this defense without turning the ball over. Vegas definitely has the Jacksonville Jaguars heavily favored in this matchup, but I think Vegas definitely got this one wrong. I'm never going to pick against myself. I got my Cleveland Browns getting a W over those Jacksonville Jaguars going into Week 7. Next up, we had Westside Pablo and the New York Giants versus Matty Ice and those Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, these Eagles are off to another hot start. What we expected these Philadelphia Eagles to do every single season. They're handing out so far 2 50-piece McNuggets. Josh Rosen is my fault. Josh Allen is just flat out, elevated. I'm sorry. Josh Rosen is the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. My bad. Josh Rosen is flat out has elevated his offense to a whole different level. Right now he has a total of 19 total passing touchdowns, but the number one thing that stands out is this guy only has a total of 9 picks. Now, it's Week 6, so guys like, whoa, 9 picks, that's a lot of interceptions. If you look at that interception, the touchdown interception ratio, you will understand why this is a big factor, But the question is, we know what Matty does in the regular season. We know that these Eagles are a juggernaut come Week 1 all the way up to Week 17. But is this the year that we will finally see these Eagles and finally see these birds fly high and get over that hump? It's hard to pick against them seeing how this offense is playing right now. Westside Pablo, man, I tip my hat off to you, man, because the sun is not shining too bright over there in New York. First you lose OBJ, who we might not see play for, I want to say, a season and a half. Then you're coming off your bye week, going up against a team that's averaging a total of 41 points, and your defense has been struggling all the way up to this point, allowing a total of 38 points per game. Wow, man. This is going to be a long day for this New York Giants team, flying to Philadelphia and flying back home to New York. Vegas has Matty Ice and those Philadelphia Eagles favorite by 14 points. I think Vegas definitely got this one right. Be on the lookout for either a Krispy Kreme donut special or 50-piece McNugget special. I got the Eagles getting the W going into Week 7. Next up, we have Kirk and the Green Bay Packers versus Darkness and the Tennessee Titans. This Green Bay Packers team, man, is balling. You know, even though they took that L last week, this Green Bay Packers team, man, is flat out balling. You know, but something to take away from that Week 5 loss. This Green Bay Packers team, man, came out from quarter 1 to quarter. I might even want to say just from quarter 1, that defense came out and played lights out football. After quarter 1, from quarter 2 to the fourth quarter, they took a break and just got the hinges blown straight off their door, giving up a total of 42 points. Kurt, if you ain't doing it this week in practice, I advise you to do it now. Explain to your guys that this is a 32-minute football game. There's no time for breaks. You know, you have to come out and play a full game of football if you expect to win. Darkness and those Tennessee Titans last week showed some form of life, but they fell back in a dark hole in crucial points of that game. That game was a whole lot closer last week versus those Jacksonville Jaguars and what that score projected. But for some reason, Darkness and those Tennessee Titans just fell back in that dark place. You know, this is a team that has so much talent, man, but they cannot seem to get out of their own way. They're their own obstacle. You know, this week, you know, you have a rookie running back, Karan Colbert, coming to your house, and this guy is a workhorse. He has shown that from week, I'm going to say preseason up to this point, that he's a force to be reckoned with. Y'all have to figure out how to stop the run and not give up another highlight show like y'all did last week against Leonard Fournette. You know, y'all got to figure out how to take him out of the game if y'all plan on getting a W in this matchup. Vegas has the Green Bay Packers favored by 4.5. I definitely think Vegas got this one right. I got the rookie running back running his team with a W all the way into week 7. Next up, we have SJ and the Houston Texans versus Andy and those Los Angeles Chargers. Man, these Chargers, man, I don't know what's going on, you know, but they're coming off of their bye week. You know, a well-needed bye week. But the question out there this week is, who's going to start at the quarterback position? You know, rookie quarterback is still sidelined due to his injury. So the next 2 men up is either Brock Osweiler or Patrick Lynch, which I would rather have Colt McCoy back there starting for me. But he has to make that decision on who he feels like he will be starting this week. Now, this team is going up against a defense with SJ and those Houston Texans. SJ, listen to this. I need you to hear me on this one. You're going up against a team who has two quarterbacks who have the turnover bug implanted in their brain. That's just what they do. You know, your defense last week secured you a 34-12 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, causing 5 interceptions. Y'all sacked the quarterback 9 times, and y'all caused 2 fumbles. Bring that same defensive mentality into this matchup going out there in LA. They're shaky at that quarterback position. Let your defense go wild. Vegas has this game favored with the LA Chargers favored by 1.5. I think Vegas got this one wrong. I'm taking SJ and those Houston Texans on the road, getting a W going into week 7. Next up, we have Nasty Noop and the Atlanta Falcons versus JB and the Denver Broncos. Last week, you know, I just can't seem to put my finger on it, but this Denver Broncos team just cannot seem to get things right. You know, sprinkled in with a little, you know, Madden BS. This is what you get. Ranked 30th in points allowed, giving up 38 points a game on the defensive side of the ball. Ranked 28th in yards allowed. You know, can this team play any worse? Can Madden jerk this team around any worse? I know Nasty Noop ain't caring about that. You going up this week, you know, last week was a great game from this Atlanta Falcons team. The defense, that front four is balling, you know, but it seems like the defense has stepped it up a notch, but the offense has taken their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. So, entering this matchup, you know, last week was a crazy game. You know, you get the ball back with 32 seconds left. You're right there in the 10-yard line. You make a couple key passes. You score a touchdown. Now, after you scored a touchdown, you decide to go for 2. This shows that this GM, this owner, is all in, you know, which I like the aggressive play call, but you failed on it. So, you know, it is what it is. This week, though, I don't see this game even being that close to where you have to worry about scoring a game with a touchdown or going for a 2-point conversion to win the game or kicking a game with a field goal. They're facing a team this week that gives up a total of 300 passing yards. I'm expecting Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley should not near a problem finding the red zone on multiple drives. Vegas has the Falcons favored by 3 points. I think Vegas definitely got this one right. Taking the Atlanta Falcons, getting the W, going into Week 7. Next up, we have Jay and the Seattle Seahawks versus Chef Scooper and the Arizona Cardinals. We got a team that... We got 2 things going on in this game right here. We got a team that lost some talent, and we have a team that's getting back some talent in this matchup. The Seattle Seahawks coaching staff are smiling ear to ear heading into this matchup. Doctors have cleared Marshawn Bash back to play in this game. Now, the reason why they're smiling is because the Arizona Cardinals will be without superstar cornerback Patrick Peterson, who they cut earlier this week. Now, last week, this Arizona Cardinals secondary gave up a total of 451 passing yards. 451 passing yards. And this defense got a 50-piece McNugget dropped on their head. Jay, if you don't listen to nothing I have said in previous shows, you better listen to me now. Feed that beast, because this secondary cannot stop a lick of nothing. They cannot stop a lick of nothing. Feed him. There's no one that can match up with this defense. No one that can match up on that Arizona Cardinals defense team toe-to-toe with this guy. You know, I'm telling you that right now. Feed him. You have to. I'm telling you, you have to. Feed him. The Arizona Cardinals, man, y'all coming off of y'all took a crazy L last week. Y'all heading in this matchup 1-4. Y'all gonna have to figure out how to dig deep, find hope somewhere out there in Arizona, because you guys need it. You know, your defense looked horrible last week. You lost Patrick Peterson. Your quarterback can't seem to take care of the ball. The run game is not clicking. Y'all have to regroup fast if y'all plan on making a playoff run. Vegas has the Seattle Seahawks favored by 3.5 points. I think Vegas definitely got this one right. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks, getting a W, going into Week 7. Next up, you have skill trade in the Buffalo Bills versus KP and the Kansas City Chiefs. This ain't nothing new, man. Like, you know, the skill trade in those Bills, man, I don't know what's going on. This is the team that has so much talent. You know, this team has so much talent, but it just seems to every single year, you know, I don't know. Rumors going around that the Bills right now are currently selling game tickets for $2.50 on the DML website. After this matchup, they might be free. You know, KP, you getting an easy matchup this week. You got Tyreek Hill coming back. You know, you're sitting at 3-1. This right here is definitely a no-brainer. this is pretty much an exhibition for the Chiefs. You know, to work on, work on some plays, see what things work, and see what things don't. Vegas has the Kansas City Chiefs favored by 17.5 points. I definitely think Vegas got this one right. Got the Chiefs getting an easy W going into Week 7. Next up, we have the big homie and the Cincinnati Bengals versus Rich 215 and those New York Jets. What a turnaround, man. This Cincinnati Bengals team, you know, just went from making the playoffs to falling back into their old habits. I guess win and die fast out there in Cincinnati, you know. But this week, Rich 215, all he said last week after talking to, you know, reporters and multiple meetings is you can't teach 6'6". You know, you can't teach 6'6" after his 6'6" wide receiver went off for a total of 144 yards and 3 touchdowns. But other people are spurring around saying that you can't teach fried spam sandwiches. So this week, man, out there in New York, they got the fried spam sandwich special that is taking off. Listen, man, I'm telling you right now, if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? You're going up against a struggling Cincinnati Bengals defense. Feed the beast. Feed the 6'6" beast. Let's see what he can do this week. But the big homie, free chicken. Don't pay attention to that speed. You need help over the top. You cannot expect for your little tiny cornerbacks to contain this beast. Do not pay attention to the speed and just put some help over the top, man. Or if you don't, whatever you decide to do is going to be a long day for you. But I'm telling you, take that free chicken. Vegas has the New York Jets favored by 20.5 points. I think Vegas definitely got this one right. Taking the Jets, getting a W, going into Week 7. Next up, we have tight work in the Miami Dolphins versus Tone and those Oakland Raiders. Tight work. Oh, man. You know, Miami's coming off of their bye week sitting at 1-3. Something that, you know, no one in the DML is used to seeing. But they head into the black hole facing a playoff caliber team. You know, I know it's only week 6, but this is a must-win for tight work in the Miami Dolphins as they plan on making a playoff run in an already tight AFC conference. Tone took a tough loss last week against the Carolina Panthers. This week, you need to erase that L from your memory. They're in a tight division where every year a win or two separates 2 guys. This is a division every single year where 2 teams come out of. So you can't afford to take no L's, man. This is a must-win, especially this is a conference game, so this is a must-win, I think, for both teams. Vegas has the Raiders favored by 5 points. I think Vegas definitely got this one right. The Miami Tone is facing a shaky Miami Dolphins team this week, and I think he can get the W at home. Next up, we have Hamiltop and the Minnesota Vikings versus KP and the Bus and the Chicago Bears. Every single season, man, this Minnesota Vikings team heading into the beginning of the season looks like a team that can make a playoff run. And every single season, they're singing the same tune with injuries. Injuries are killing this team every single year. This week, they're going up against their division mate and with the Bus and those Bears. And there's too many injuries in key positions on this Minnesota Vikings team. You know, I don't know. This offseason, they need to definitely take a look at firing and hiring a whole new training staff because these guys are getting hurt and dropping off, like flies every single season. The Bus and the Chicago Bears got away with a W in Atlanta by the skin of their teeth. You know, just a couple things to put out from that game. I want to, definitely point out who was calling those plays at the end of that game. You know, you're up by 7 with 32 seconds left on the clock. The Atlanta Falcons have 2 timeouts. Why pass the ball? Why? You passed the ball, you turned it over, flipped the field, put Atlanta in the 10-yard line, then gave up a touchdown. All you had to do was just run the ball. That's it. All you had to do was just run the ball. This week, some advice for the bus. Put all your players on that offense on the bus and ride that bus. Because the way that offensive line is playing, when you're dropping back to pass the ball, is just not working. Lean on that running game. Get back to what the bus knows what to do, and that's running and pounding that rock. And I can see you getting a W in this matchup. Vegas has the Bears favorite by 5.5 points. I think Vegas got this one right. And I'm taking the Bears, getting the W going into Week 7. Those are my golden picks for Week 6. Tune into the next show that I'll be dropping on the next advance. I'm your host, OG Chris Murray. I'm out.